Here's the truth about agility ladders. They don't work and they serve no purpose within your training, and I'm going to break down why. So I'll play this video in the background. This is not a diss on anyone in particular, Fight Camp or this trainer. He's just showing some ladder drills as part of their business. Cool, whatever. Now, agility ladders are often used across all combat sports for various reasons. Number one mainly is the idea of quote unquote fast feet. The other idea is something like what is happening on this video right now, developing some kind of technical rhythm. The other idea is people think it translates to agility in the ring or within combat sports. And I'll break all of those down now. Hopefully I can remember what I just said. But firstly, the idea of fast feet. I've touched on this in a few of the previous breakdown reaction videos with various fighters doing fast feet drills. Fast feet on the spot or through a ladder does not mean jack when it comes to the sport itself. It does not mean that you have fast feet in the ring, on the mats, in the cage, whatever it is. And even if you had fast feet, it still doesn't make any difference in your ability to perceive what is happening and to present the right tool to solve that problem, which we will touch down more on the agility road. So having fast feet is not going to help you. The fighters that are the fastest in the ring may not be or may not have the fastest feet going through an agility ladder. And there's a reason for that, because there is a sport-specific stimulus that they have to interpret, react to, and answer. Now, obviously, when we go down the agility road, which I will in a second, you have more than just the physical aspects, and we'll break that down. But before that, we also have this idea of rhythm, or in this case, the previous drill there, using that jab in and out with boxing footwork. Now, rhythm is not just the ability to step forward, jab, back, forward, back, forward, back. Rhythm in a chaotic sport like combat sports ebbs and flows. You're never fully in control of the rhythm. Well, you can be if you're on against a lower level opponent, but it ebbs and flows as the fight changes in momentum, for example. And sport is about disrupting your opponent's rhythm while imposing your own rhythm on the opponent so you can fight at your pace and gather the momentum. And the only way to disrupt an opponent's rhythm is by either changing the pace, so fighting at a faster pace they're used to, or being deceiving or deceitful through feints and various fakes, presenting problems that the opponent cannot problem solve, figure out, or have not seen before, disrupting their rhythm and them not being able to play their game or fight at their pace. And these are the things that you develop through technical training, light sparring, technical work, etc., and then putting it into live situations. Now, when we're talking about agility in particular, see some drill like this is not going to help you be faster or more agile, boxing ring or whatever combat sport. The issue is around agility is attached to a cognitive component, meaning there has to be a decision-making opponent for it to be agility. Agility is not speed or being able to change direction quickly. Those are completely different qualities that you can train. And when we're talking agility, there's a physical side and a mental or cognitive side. So if we're touching on the physical side to start with, we're looking at being able to display high levels of strength and power, be able to display or produce force quickly, known as rate of force development, having good technique to be able to do the movement efficiently. These are physical characteristics that you can develop through general strength training, conditioning, etc., that you do maybe in a gym with weights and whatnot, and you would develop these qualities. Now, just because you have those qualities does not mean you're agile. There's a decision-making component that comes along with agility. It's why it's often coined reactive agility, but reactive becomes redundant because agility is or already encompasses this cognitive component. And this cognitive component can be broken down into a few different, I guess, categories, but mainly it's the ability to anticipate what the opponent is doing because you've seen the situation before, so you have knowledge of the situation and you're able to anticipate what can potentially come. And you have knowledge of the situation because you can recognize the patterns that are happening in front of you. So for example, maybe you've studied tape on your opponent, or just from years of facing other opponents through different anthropometry, through different styles, you notice that when athlete A does this particular thing, it usually means this typical technique is coming, or he is likely to do this thing. And if you know that through pattern recognition, you can anticipate what is happening, and you can use the tool sets in your toolbox, which are the techniques that you have, to solve that problem and answer it, whether that's striking the opponent, pivoting out of the way. It could be, being able to set traps and grappling, etc. That is what true agility is. Ladders give you none of that. You get no physical development, and don't come at me in the comments by saying that, oh, you're going side to side, you're developing quickness and blah, blah, blah. It's all fucking bullshit. You get no physical development. You get no cognitive development because there is nothing to react to. Now, you could say, okay, but what if we added someone's pointing a different way that you have to react to someone doing something while going to the ladder? Again, the cognitive stimulus has to be sport specific. There's some great research papers. If you search Warren Young, he is I'll call him the godfather of agility, I guess, because he is the one who has done a lot of research in the space, specifically within this cognitive domain. And when you correlate over a Venn diagram, so you know those two circles that overlap, when you do that with agility, having the cognitive development, and just change of direction speed, which is just the ability to change direction physically without reacting to anything, you get a correlation of around 30% overlap, which means they're two distinctly different traits, essentially. Now, when you look further into the research, when they're comparing elite and sub-elite athletes within the same sport, you'll find that sub-elite athletes can often outperform the elite athletes when it comes to a change of direction task. So it could be, for example, could be going through a ladder drill like this. It could be just running to a line, quickly turning around and running back. That would be a simple change of direction task. And the sub-elite athletes can often outperform the elite athletes. But when you add a sport-specific stimulus they have to react to, so for example, having a screen up and the opposition is throwing a certain type of strike and the person has to react to it, or shooting a certain takedown at a certain time, the elite performers far outperform the sub-elite athletes during those tests because they are much quicker at recognizing what is happening in the sport-specific scenario, which is why ladder drills do absolutely sweet fuck all for your combat sports training. Now, you can go down the road of, oh, but it makes a great warm-up, etc. Okay. If we're talking warm-ups, there are better things you can do as a warm-up. Yes, you can do agility ladders as a warm-up. If you have the time and you can do it. I still believe there are better things you can do that will bleed into your session and reinforce the technical things that you want to do. For example, shadow wrestling and shadow boxing. Perfect warm-ups that you reinforce and visualize what's happening. Those are far better options than the agility ladder. Now, if we're talking even youth athletes, which is often another argument for using agility ladders, again, all the things that I mentioned previously still applies to youth athletes, so it's useless for them too. So the idea of having an agility ladder and it making you faster, more agile, a better combat athlete are all false. And I've detailed why. I'm sure there'll be people in the comments that disagree with me, as there are in every single video, but that's perfectly fine. I've stated my point. If you disagree, at least tell me why in the comments instead of just saying instead of saying that I'm wrong. I want to know why you think I'm wrong on this. So stay tuned. I'll have some more breakdowns coming soon.